Hello everyone and welcome to Tailored Acres. I'm Taylor and I'm a gardener in Wisconsin Zone 4B, Central Wisconsin to be exact, and tonight is going to be our first freeze. Last night we had kind of a half frost, so some of this stuff is already compromised, but it snuck up on me this year. So I just wanted to do this video in case you aren't having a frost or a freeze yet, that you can do these things in your garden, because this will come out after we had our frost and freeze. So first thing I'm going to do is take cuttings. So I just have my favorite pruning shears and then some water to put them in. And I'll go over everything that I am going to try to propagate. This year I did a few things last year and it saves a lot of money if you're able to do it. And then we're also going to talk about what to dig up, put in your basement. I have a totally separate series on dahlias, so we're not really going to talk about those too much today. Let's get our day started with the cuttings. So the first one we're going to talk about is Verbena bonariensis. So that is this guy here. They have really pretty purple flowers. Last year, I'll show you the bottom of this. Last year I just dug up the entire plant here, so this whole thing, and I treated it basically like a house plant, but I had it under my grow lights and it did great, and it sent out sprouts, and I took more cuttings off of that throughout the year because I had some trouble starting this from seed, so that definitely could have been a me problem, but that was a good solution. So I'm just gonna take this one here, and you can see that there's all these little guys coming off of it. So that's what I'm going to take cuttings of. And I'm also going to be digging up the whole plant, a few of them too, because I want to have a bunch of these next year. So I'm just going to make sure my pruning shears are fairly clean, and I'm going to snip it off right at the bottom like that. So this is a really good looking cutting, and then I'm going to strip all of the leaves off here. And this is basically the procedure for everything. So I won't go through this on everyone in this detail, but there you go. And I usually try to leave like 2 bigger leaves like that, and then you're ready. So I'm just going to put this in the water, and I don't have good luck propagating anything in water, so I will be putting all of mine in soil with a humidity dome over the top of them. So I'm just going to continue taking all of these cuttings. I should also mention for this verbena, if you don't have little sucker type cuttings like that, you can also try to take more of this hardwood cutting. So if you can see where my hand is here, there are 2 nodes coming out of this one. So I'm going to cut below the next leaf node here, just like that. So now this is what I have. So this is where the roots will come out of, is a leaf node, because that's where the hormones are the most concentrated. So I'm going to then cut right here, and then that is my cutting, just like that. So you can see there's 2 little new ones coming out of there already, and then this is where it will root in, just like that. So here are my Verbena bonariensis cuttings, and you can see that they're not super long. So that was a mistake that I made my first year, is I made them super long. So you only really want a couple of those leaf nodes long. So they don't really need a whole lot of space. And then when I get them inside, I'm probably going to even cut them shorter. So they're probably only going to be about 2 inches to 3 inches long when I put them into the dirt. So when I put them into the dirt, I just want the leaves to be sticking out. You don't want them any longer than that, because it's just more of the plant for it to keep alive before it has roots, and which is also why we're taking so many leaves off. And even leaves like this here, you can just cut those to make them smaller so that they don't have to work as hard to keep the leaves alive. Next up we have coleus, and this is one that I've done a few times. Sorry, the dog was barking at something. Oh, turkeys. Well, that's exciting. So these are ones that do really well inside. So you can see they kind of branch out like this variety of coleus, which I can't even remember what the name is. It's been so long. I think this is like the third year we propagated these. They didn't love it here. Usually they get really big up in my front pots, but those get mostly shade. So yeah, we're just gonna be cutting down here, same as the verbena, removing all the leaves except for a few at the top, and that's about all there is to that one. So when it becomes maybe like March, the cuttings of these that I overwintered, I am going to take more cuttings off of those to propagate it further. So I basically grow it one plant, and most of mine were like this size at the end of winter. So then I just made more cuttings to have more plants. Okay, so here's my cutting. Just strip all the leaves off. And you gotta be careful. A lot of times I just end up pinching them off with my thumbnail. And that's all there is to it. A reminder too to take about twice as many cuttings as you want plants, because some of them will fail for a variety of reasons. So just take more than you are gonna want. The next one we have here is rosemary. This is one I tried last year and I was not successful. But I took them really late after it had some freezes and frosts. So this year I'm going to try to be ahead of it. So I'm just going to take a few of these that are, looking fresh, I guess. Just take the leaves off it like the other ones, and same deal. So there's a little rosemary cutting. These rosemary I started from seed inside. I think it was like November. So I'm also going to be doing that again because the plants got pretty nice size for one season here. You can see it kind of got choked out by the sage too. This is a dahlia that has been growing all year, and I'm going to take a cutting off of this. These might be harder to keep alive all winter, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I am using the same principles as everything else, cutting below a leaf node and then stripping all the leaves off. Unlike seeds, dahlia cuttings will be true to the mother plant because it is sharing the exact same genetics. So again, don't make these too long, pull off the leaves. You know the drill by this point. One other general point that I try to follow is don't pick something that is flowering. You want a stem that has not flowered yet. They do better. This is a geranium that I grew from seed 2 years ago, and I actually just dug it up and put it in my basement for winter, and it is looking really good this year. So I'm going to try to take cuttings this year. I've never done this before, so I'm not real sure how it's going to work out. The stems are very thick, so that may be a challenge to get it to root, but I will let you know how it goes. I'm following the exact same principles as everything else, and I'm going to root it the same way as well. This is a begonia that I grew last year, and I treated it like a house plant this year, and it never flowered, so I'm not sure why it was in complete darkness down here, but this specific branch actually had already started rooting where it touched the ground, so that was an easy one to take, and there was quite a few more of those in here as well. I did take a few that I will root the traditional way, just like everything else, but if you can find some that already are growing roots, like that is already half the job done for you, and I think you'll have a lot more success if you can find some like that. So I'm happy that I found some with roots on it for myself. This is Creeping Jenny that has perennialized in this bed, but I am also going to try taking some cuttings from this because I think I want to put it in the front containers next year. So some of these are already sprouting roots like the one I'm showing you right here. So those will be obviously easy to stick in, but any leaf node, if you bury it with Creeping Jenny, is going to root in. Next up is this annual sedum that I have. These are pretty expensive to buy, so I'm going to try to take cuttings this year. I've never done this before, but much like the Creeping Jenny, they already have roots along their stems, so it should be really easy to propagate these. And this is Persian cress. I've never taken a cutting of this either, but I think it will do well. And doesn't hurt to try. So cutting, remove the leaves, just like everything else. Here are all the cuttings that I took today. So I'm going to get the ones that are not in water in some soil right away, but the ones that are in water can wait a few days as I have time to root them because I took a lot of cuttings this year. The first plant that I'm going to be digging up to store in my basement is geraniums. I did this last year too. It worked really good. So I'm just going to dig them out with the soil attached, and I have a pot for them here. And I'm just going to put them in the basement and forget about them. That's all there is to that one. This is a calla lily that I've been growing this year. And I haven't tried to overwinter these yet, but they do have like bulbs. So I'm just going to do the same thing where just dig it and put it in a pot and put it in the basement to dry out over winter. And the last one that I'm doing this year is this Verbena bonariensis. So I'm just going to cut it down and dig it out and kind of treat it like a houseplant, but I'm going to keep it under my grow lights. That's what I did last year with these. And they sent out many sprouts, which then I rooted. So I had quite a few plants by the time it was spring. But this one is a lot of work. If you don't have grow lights to put them under, I don't know how it will go, but it's always worth giving it a shot. The only other thing that I will be storing over winter is my dahlias. And like I said, I have a whole series on dahlia care, winter care, and sprouting. So I would recommend just watching those. But in general, I'm just going to wait until they have that first hard frost, dig them within 2 weeks after that, and then process them for storage. My favorite method has been the plastic wrap method, which I have a video on, but I have had success just digging them, putting them in a pot, and putting them into my basement as well. But that way you don't get more plants. And that's it for today's video. So I hope you have a good fall and keep on gardening. Take care.